Meet four-time Emmy Award-winning talk show host Bill Boggs. Here are some highlights of his long-running New York almost one-man play, Talk Show Confidential. Backstage Magazine says, Boggs is a terrific conversationalist. The show moves smoothly from monologues to clips because there is another character on stage, the television set itself. With intriguing moments from the likes of Frank Sinatra, Whoopi Goldberg, Martha Stewart, and more, Boggs' love of show business shines through. This is fun and inspirational.
Absolutely nothing can happen to me here on this stage that hasn't happened in 30 years of television. Somewhere in New Jersey, there's a dentist who is still saying, I was on the Bill Boggs show, and he fell asleep while he was interviewing me. I wonder why. So I'd like to show you a couple examples of things that have happened in this format. The first is with Matt Lauer. We're down at the Blue Ribbon restaurant downtown. He has ordered a giant thing of oysters, which of course leads me to the inevitable question about oysters as an aphrodisiac. Watch.
I had to do an hour and a half. This was a 3-hour live show every day. I had to do an hour and a half on women who fake orgasm. Do I look like the kind of guy who's be comfortable talking about that?
Bloomberg Radio says, very funny show, entertaining stories, good video clips, very well paced.
I would consult, of course, with my old friend, Arnold. Arnold, let's talk a little bit about muscles. What's your favorite muscle? You must have a favorite. I mean, among all the muscles in your body, one must be your favorite.
Yeah, no, I do.
I love live television because you never know what's going to happen. And I want to tell you some crazy things that have happened because we were doing live TV.
New York One reports the show is really funny, a real look behind the scenes of television.
Now, Mr. Boggs, you must be a Republican. Why do you say that, Mr. Vice President? Because a Democrat would let me go out there and truly be tricky Dick Nixon. How could the circumstances possibly conspire that I would be talking to people on television live and only find out to my horror as I was proceeding to interview them that they could not speak a word of English? How could that happen? Well, here's the story.
Crush Magazine reports Bill Boggs resurrects the art of storytelling and delivers a hilarious show by telling the truth about the life he is living as a talk show host.
So now I feel this giant bead of sweat forming right here, running down here, right? I look over to the producer, like for help, and the producer goes, here's what happened. Welcome back, everybody. Well, wasn't it wonderful having the Panos with us? They're going to be back for more scintillating conversation in the future. Right now, we continue with Gore Vidal. Well, Gore, how are you doing? Just fine, Bill. Would you like those big, incomprehensible words in English or Russian? But honestly, that's not the most embarrassing thing that happened. This is. And I proceed to interview the hookers. Meanwhile, the public relations woman for the station is taking an entire troop of brownies on a tour of our station. New cue card. And let's have a nice welcome for Brownie Troop number 26 from Forest Hills, please! What are brownies doing here? Get the brownies out of here! I lunge at the PR woman. I have to be restrained. The brownies are running around like frenzied ants. Those are going, hi, girls, hi! I come back. Start the next segment. Wouldn't you know, the first words out of one of the hookers' mouth were, you know, Bill, I was a brownie once when I was a little girl.
The Resident says, pee in your pants funny. Boggs has great stories.
Over the years, the most frequently asked question I've got is, who's been your favorite guest? And I've written a song to explain exactly who my favorite guest is. I assembled some photos, so let's dim the lights. You're going to see some very familiar faces.
Parade magazine says seeing Talk Show Confidential is like going to a great dinner party with a host who is most entertaining and some of the world's most famous guests.
The rock stars and the jock stars and the opera tenors too. The jazz kings and the dance queens. These are people I knew. I've had a Jerry Springer show and one with Martha too. And including 007, Frank's the best I knew.
I had no idea when I started listening to that little radio that I would ever be so lucky to be so close to all these incredible people and to be able to see and feel and absorb firsthand how each of them seemed to possess a will to prevail by believing in their God-given talents, and that they have a force with them because they knew how powerful that faith in themselves could be, whether times for them were good or bad, which in this very difficult year should remind us all, you're very powerful, provided you know how powerful you are.
The New York Post writes, Bill Boggs' Talk Show Confidential is filled with humor and warmth and something extra. A nourishing element of wisdom and insight that raises the reminiscences above the usual celebrity show fare.
Thank you very much.
Theater Mania writes, hopeful and inspiring.
Thank you.
Tommy Toon says, I love the show and walked out of the theater feeling terrific.
Thank you. Sit down. All right, look, wait a minute, hold it. You folks got to get home, maybe. There's 5 hours of the Golden Globes left. I want to thank Amika. I want to thank Lee Summers, managing theater, our bartenders, and chef.